and yeah, I think our audio is good. Okay, so that way we'll know.
The video has started, but not the meeting, so
No business shall be discussed yet.
yes.
If you want to record it. I can pass this around as a little reminder.
And we were not gonna play the tree there Thursday, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the answer is yes. Okay.
I thought that went really well.
It did. I don't, in my mind, I was thinking that it was a one-time deal, but that's no big deal. We'll get over it.
We'll probably go have Danny's more.
Yeah, well, that's probably where we will get it. So,
Okay.
or forest relief is really bad ones.
Sorry. I figured it would just be the exact same agenda.
I do have some river birds that were growing in the gutter of the rec center.
Oh.
That are pretty big.
Really? Just throw them in a 15-gallon container and no one will know that it was.
They're pretty nice. No, we'll put them on the bag. Okay.
Well. Someone be able to dig. It's weird. Thank you. You're not.
Anybody need cardboard boxes?
I can be there.
Like. Need barriers.
Well,
No, or need barriers.
Well, that would be one good use for them. You've got an area you want to show them.
Yeah.
I got about 120 boxes when they brought things back. A friend of mine's made them, so she took most of them.
But if there's somewhere.
There's another 15 or 20.
Yes.
The regular corrugated, 14,
Yeah, I'll be there, but I'll just be.
14 by 14 by 14.
Paste from the city stuff.
So, whatever that is, laid on them.
A gorilla tree.
So I guess Baroque festivals.
Yeah. Friday.
Is it really Friday?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am so like, I've lost all kinds of.
I got
these
big
time
plans.
counts.
Good. I saw Walter when we were up for a walk yesterday. He's excited about it. Cruise Americana. Should be really good.
We're gonna be outnumbered.
We are. This is for 10 minutes.
I'm used to an audience.
We can be.
Few more minutes.
Yeah, you guys prepping for that?
Oh,
Are you doing your scratching so you don't hit your paper route?
No, we have to.
Oh, I fell in the mud. When you were back hiking trip, yeah. I thought I caught myself and I was falling, but my backpack was 40 to 45 pounds and it let me know that it was there.
Because you.
We're
good.
Fell back.
Thank you.
My phone was in his hand. And so I guess I tried to catch myself with his hand. I overextended my fingers. I go to the doctor on Friday, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I can use it, but I can't I don't know.
They went back.
So it was super swollen
Yeah.
the next
Been there,
day.
done that, it hurts.
So if I have it in this, it reminds me just
Yeah.
not use it a little bit.
Anyway, I'll have to- It took a fall thinking.
Yeah.
We were on vacation. It wasn't like that, but I mean, it was kind of scary. I wasn't sure if it was gonna.
Well, I didn't know, like, I thought it was maybe just from like the sodium we were eating and, they were eating, like lots of sodium, lots of calories because we were burning a lot of calories on our hikes. And then,
People are gonna watch.
like the next day, and like when my hand was like 3 times, like, no, I was using my hiking pole, so.
Yeah.
My hand was like 3 times the size. I was like, that's not just sausage fingers. There's something wrong with my hands.
Oh,
So, but then I was able to get ice that second night. So and that really helped. But
okay, yeah, wow, oh, right, that probably,
the
the things you don't think of that you are out.
right, well, like when you're
Yeah, like
in
it's
the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
backcountry,
You don't have
West
money.
Virginia mountain.
if that's the thing in your path.
With-
goes
We were
to that.
lucky that we were doing the pack and paddle.
And that.
Yeah. The day after I, the second day of hiking, like that night, they picked us up in a parking lot. That's how it was. But they probably bused us to our campsite for the night for whitewater rafting the next day. So,
What would you call this?
but yeah, I was grateful for it. Never been so happy to have ice. Yesterday I was helping at a state sale and we were bagging up all the clothes and I was taking clothes from off the hangers and stuff and I was like, I had stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just old or what, but
Well, you probably don't, I mean, it doesn't take much in those muscles,
yeah.
if they're sore or jammed or.
I think like all of the above, like tendons or something like. I don't know, it'll be good, it'll be good, it'll be fine. This is my life now.
Yeah, for them to just like. be out of
should I
your
say,
shape
like,
for a little while.
Yeah.
You
want that.
Yeah, we had some chores at home.
Yeah, that's really hard when you're not, yeah, not a good idea. A sharp object when you're non-dominant.
I was gonna say road doctors before.
Friday.
Dream-based commissions. I will try, and I don't do that.
2 minutes,
2 minutes.
your 2-minute warning.
I was a gamble. That's all I really.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Joe's his spot.
He
Joe's
his.
Yeah.
Did you continue that flyer around?
Oh, it's just trash.
Laura, are you the scribe tonight?
Bill, did you continue to send that flyer around? I just wanted to share it with people. I don't problem with copy.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't,
You were hogging it.
well, I, you know, if you were trying to hit me over the head with a hammer.
No, just reminder. Reminder.
I just put it in my phone and reminded myself.
Okay.
Better be there.
6:30, be there.
I just realized this morning that it was.
Okay, folks, 5:15.
All right. Do we don't have anybody on mic yet, but. I'm calling the meeting, the Green Space Advisory Commission meeting to order, and I just want to remind you guys that we're being recorded. And sometimes we have members pop in, but I don't see anybody right now. Let's see, Laura, can you do a roll call of our members?
Annie? Not here. Bill? Is here. Emily? That's
Here.
Great. Joe?
Here.
Ginger?
Here. myself and here, Linda is here, Jerry. Oh, no,
Not yet.
yet, Carrie's here.
Here.
Corin. Not here yet, and then Yvonne. Here.
All right. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes from June? Did everybody have a chance to read those? And
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
thank you. So our first item on the agenda tonight is visitors. Karen, there's Karen. Karen from the Webster Groves Women's Garden Association is going to talk with us tonight for just a few minutes, probably 5 minutes, and then give us some time for questions if we have it, but about a project that they have. And we actually discussed it just a tiny bit at another meeting that we had, but I think Karen wanted the chance to come talk to us in person, which is good, because if we have any questions, we could ask her. And if they had a proposal for us, or if they're looking for help or something, she was gonna let us know. And then I figured we wouldn't necessarily debate on that tonight, because we have fairly full agenda, but we could talk about it and then get back to Karen at a later date.
Where would you like me to stand?
Right there. Okay. I think. Hi, Annie. Hi, Annie.
Hi. Hi there.
I just brought some little flyers I'm gonna pass out to you all about what all we have done in the city. So you just wanna pass that around.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm Karen Halla. I'm the president of the Webster Groves Women's Garden Association. And so I brought some help with me tonight, but some of them are involved with the project that we're wanting to talk to you about. So in the other pink shirt is Ruth Bailey. She's the former civic chair. Civic committee means taking care of the gardens at Ruey Park. Okay. Next to her is the current civic chair, Martha Schuler. Next to her is a former president, Valerie Murray. Next to her is Debbie Miali. She's the president of Group 4. And Jan Chamberlain is the last person. She is my vice president for the association. So the association basically is over what the three groups do as a group, as opposed to we also have our individual lives to go on. So I just wanted to say that, as you may be aware, our association cares for 3 gardens in Ruey Park: the Circle Lily Garden, the Blue Star Marker Garden, and the Centennial Butterfly Garden. But we are now facing some challenges, then that's why I'm here to talk to you. So I'd just like to start with a little information about our organization. We were formed by Mrs. John Larson in 1926, and her husband, J.P. Larson, who Larson Park is named after, had formed a men's garden club a few years earlier. And so Mrs. Larson thought it would be just as interesting to women, and so she started a women's club. It was originally called the Home Garden Club. So the Home Garden Club grew quickly, and by 1931, there were so many members, the group was divided into 5 clubs. So if you ever hear one of us say, I'm in Group 4, well, that's why, because we've continued to be numbered as new groups come and others go. So my group, Group 4, celebrated its 90th anniversary last year as a continuous garden club. For many years, our clubs have cared for areas in Webster Groves. We started with the Circle Rose Garden in 1941. And this was located pretty close to the current Circle Garden. And it was created before Ruey Park became a city park. Over the years, that garden was renovated, and then it was changed from a rose garden to a lily garden in the 1980s. More recently, the whole Circle Garden was relocated and renovated, and we helped with both finances and work when that happened. In 1986, the Centennial Butterfly Garden was added to Ruey Park to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Webster Groves becoming a city. That garden was redesigned in 2003 by Webster Groves city horticulturist Barb Jackson. In 2006, the Blue Star Marker was honoring veterans was presented to the city by the Webster Groves Women's Garden Association. And then we created a garden to surround that monument. So in 1949, we had 17 groups and 420 members. Can you imagine? But that's no longer true. So obviously the advent of women working outside the home decreased our club's numbers starting in the late 1950s, early 1960s. And just recently we've suffered a decrease due to COVID. I mean, we couldn't meet, people didn't like Zoom, and so we lost some members. So we currently only have 3 clubs and about 50 members. So in the last few years, we've been struggling to take care of all 3 gardens at Ruey Park and have been discussing what to do. Personally, we have the most attachment to the Blue Star Marker and the Circle Lily Garden. And we also believe they're the easiest for our smaller group to take care of. We did not understand when we first heard about the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. We did not understand exactly what was happening. So we had hoped that maybe the Ruey Park Butterfly Garden could become part of that. And I had written to Mayor Welch at that time about it, and I did not hear back from her, but it was about the turnover of the election. And so then I did meet with Mayor Arnold, and she's the one that suggested that I come and talk to you all. So these are the challenges that we're facing right now. The size of the butterfly garden and the age and the size of our membership are making it difficult for us to maintain that area as well as we want it to be. We have expectations for how the park should look, but we no longer have the workers to provide the needed care. We foresee having to give up responsibility for the area of the butterfly garden at Ruey at some point. But we hope we can still maintain the Circle Garden and the Blue Star Marker. But we are also aware that the Parks Department budget has been cut to meet the reduced city budget. So taking on additional park responsibility might be difficult for the current staff. And we realize that, so we're trying to work with that. So we're holding on this year. We're trying out some new ideas. We tried some ideas that didn't work. So one was that we contacted the Chelsea Club, I think it's called, at Webster Groves High School. They're a group of students that will work in gardening and so on, and asked for volunteers. But we were informed that Ruey Park is too far from the high school for them to travel and do work. Then through Mickey Welch, we contacted the Rotary Club because she thought they might have some interest in providing volunteers, but that did not work out either. So we currently have some ideas in process. We met with an Eagle Scout candidate, which Ginger put us in touch with. But we have not heard back from him, and it does seem from talking to him like this is a one-day project.
I have some information. It
Okay.
is way too large of a scope for
Right.
one person.
Remember when we first emailed, I said, has he seen the park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we've been talking, and if it was like broken up into.
Well,
like,
we
smaller
actually
projects
suggested that to him.
that, I mean,
Right.
he'd be willing to do like the path or, like.
Right, we
one of
did
the
discuss that
smaller-
with him, so have him contact us again.
Okay.
Okay, so we did that, and we don't have anything firmed up yet, obviously. So we did successfully contact the Master Gardener program at Mobi. And Ruey Park is now an approved location as a Master Gardener work site. So we've held one work day for Master Gardeners so far. We had a small turnout, but since they really know what they're doing, it was pretty successful. And the person in charge of it for Missouri Botanical Garden suggested that we have a second one and see how it goes. Yvonne has offered a day of greenkeeper help. We're talking about trying a neighborhood work day at Ruey Park and putting out flyers and seeing if we can get people that live in that neighborhood to turn out, for a day or maybe 2 days, and we could, get people might be interested in helping us. We have not started that yet. And we've also discussed a possible joint effort for a monarch garden with other Webster Groves garden organizations, but they have their own gardens. They are only willing to help us if we are part of the Monarch Pledge. So we have no commitments from them at this time. So we are asking for a partnership with the city of Webster Groves, such as a partnership with the city to continue to keep and improve the park as part of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. This includes workers and plants, some from the city and some from our organization. 2 would be as a member of the National Garden Clubs, which we are, we can apply for grants such as Plant America. And so we might need some help from the Parks Department with facts and numbers and so on. And grants awarded through that are up to $1,000. So that could possibly help us maybe even bring in some professional workers or something like that to do it. And we also hope, and this doesn't have to do specifically with the RUI, but we hope that the Green Space Committee would help involve the Webster Groves Garden Association for Women, the Webster Groves Garden Club, which used to be the Men's Garden Club, and the Webster Groves Herb Society, because we are all very interested in all the green spaces in Webster Groves. And I think our groups are really committed. We have a lot of knowledge among us, and we could probably provide resources that you all might need at some time. So I'm just in closing, we don't really want to give up on the current butterfly garden, but we feel that we might have to if we can't find help with care of it. But if you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to hear them. And if you have suggestions, I would love that.
Okay.
Did, when you had the group from Mobot, did you work on all of the gardens? Or
Only
just
the
2?
only the butterfly garden. No, we are not
Oh,
asking for help. We are not asking for help with the circle
the
garden
others,
or the blue star.
And
Only the I actually brought a little sketch for me. The butterfly garden, I did a little layout of
I'd like to
plants.
see it.
It's like 65 feet long.
I was gonna ask you how
Yes,
big
and
it
it's
is.
about 25 feet down Glendale Road. So I don't know what that is in square footage, but it's a lot.
It's on the Larkspur. It's right on the Larkspur.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I actually have a little sketch of the design from that. It was before Chanel, actually, before Yvonne, before Chanel, Barbara, whatever, made a little sketch of what she planted. But it's also interesting because we've talked to Yvonne about this. What if we make it smaller? And in this sketch from the Barbara, you can tell it was a lot smaller. That butterfly garden was a lot smaller originally. I don't really know, but it kept growing. It kept growing towards Glendale. So I don't know what was along Glendale back then. But it was focused more around that circle island of plants and not spread out to either side.
Yeah, I think
And it's
maybe a
Missouri
combination.
native plants.
We try to have that. We have been doing research and actually replacing some plants that were put in because there's a lot more knowledge now about what plants attract butterflies and which ones. Martha, what would you say that are not?
We started put in some shrubs, a 9-bark, 7 native hydrangeas, a beautyberry, a plum tree, and
Is it the native plum tree or a cultivar? You know,
native. It's
A native.
plum
We're
tree.
trying to
Prunus
find it.
americana.
Yeah, I bought it through the native, all of that.
Grow native.
Yes, Grow Native. And I got,
Okay.
we got, native asters and, did have asters in originally and they died out. So we tried to put a number of native asters, some milkweed. So we've been trying to add, Golden Alexander. We've been trying to add some, yeah, well, we've always had coneflowers, but we have trouble. Valerie donates some more coneflowers. We have trouble keeping we've had trouble. We lost a lot of we had coneflowers there, but we lost a lot a few years ago. And,
I would say the original design did not really feature a lot of native plants, right, Ruth?
Well, we
Right.
could,
And so we're trying to move what is there in that way.
we were
Yeah.
trying to
And we do,
for the-
I'm sorry.
for the butterfly.
right, we do have a budget each year and we do try to add plants, each
So that
year.
part, the budget would continue.
Yes, yes, I think so. I mean, we have people that still are very attached to that part, the butterfly park, and I think we still want to volunteer there. It's just that it's not enough anymore.
does anybody else have questions for Karen?
No.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you. Thanks for
Karen.
hearing me.
Yes, thank you for bringing the information and we'll get back to you if we can. All right.
I don't know.
Well, if we move on to old business, the first item of old business is secretary duties. Thank you, Laura, for volunteering tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks for
Bye-bye,
coming,
thank you.
ladies.
Thanks
Bye,
for coming.
thank you. And then I put together a rotation there.
My hair.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, I put you on, we'll see how it goes, Bill.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have hearing.
So if you have any questions or concerns about that, email me. The next item of old business is the Green Our City Initiative update, and you guys, I think, saw the flyer. Annie, as a reminder, there's an event Thursday evening at 6:30 in Larson Park. It's the,
Is her voice turned on?
it might be, but she's hearing, I can see she
I hear you.
recognized.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll have, basically, that's a repeat of the first event that we had about a month ago, and that event went really well. Laura and Linda were both there, and Todd, Reg and Yvonne were both there, and the feedback we got was good, and I talked to everybody that was there, and it was positive. So our hope is just to duplicate the success of that event. It was a really hot night too. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
remember, and people actually came. There were
yeah, they
probably
stuck around.
8 or 10 people.
Wow.
So hopefully we'll have a good turnout for this Thursday as well. Other updates regarding that is we're working with Todd to procure plant material. So Yvonne and I have reached out to some growers, because we're kind of, since we weren't able to contract grow with forest relief like we hope to do in the future, we need to actually purchase these trees outright from a grower this year, because we need them to be a big enough size. So we're working with talking to a couple of different suppliers about those trees, and we need to make sure that the trees that we plant are on the trees list for the city, and that they're appropriate for the sites. You know, big tree, small tree, whatever it might be. So that's gonna be a little bit of I guess coordination. So I'm wondering if anybody would wanna help or would volunteer. I'm thinking Joe, actually, to, after this meeting coming up, for the conversations that I want to have with each individual homeowner about the tree that's going to be planted in their yard. I kind of want to reach out to them, or maybe, I'm not sure how to do it yet, but contact them and say, hey, here's the tree we would like to plant in your yard. And if they say, sure, that's great. If they say, oh, what's my other option? Because we told them there would probably be a choice of 2 that we could, someone who knows something about the trees we're selecting could talk to them about those 2 trees. Do you think you would have some time to?
I can make time.
Okay, I could probably put some bullet points together.
Yeah.
And things so that you.
We probably need to go look at the locations prior to meeting with them.
Andre has done that. He went to the first group and looked at those and identified whether it would be a big tree or a small tree, and he's gonna do that with the second group as well after Thursday. So I think it's really kind of just a way to touch base with them and help them feel more comfortable about the tree that's coming.
Good.
Okay, cool. That's great. And as a reminder, the tree planting is September 17th. September 17th. So I wanted to talk to Emily and Jen Starkey about perhaps helping with a little bit of marketing or outreach related to some of the tools that we talked about with the tree stewards, watering with buckets, as a real quantifiable way for them to make sure they're getting enough water on the tree, put 3 buckets of water on it once a week, and that's keeping it simple for them. But we don't have buckets. So I was thinking, I know in the past, I think Ace Hardware there in not Brentwood, I guess it's Webster. donated some buckets for another cause, so I didn't know if there was some like, something like that we could think about doing. And I didn't know if Jen, I talked to Jen about it a while ago, but.
Yeah, I'm happy to explore that. with, bigger people.
Okay,
And Yvonne, you might know more stuff too.
well, I think what I'll do is send maybe an email to Jen. And copy you on that, and maybe I can copy you too, Yvonne, and you, cause you'll have that knowledge of what happened in the past.
Okay.
But, and it's not something that has to be done right away, I just want to start that ball rolling and think about those kind of things. I thought it'd be cool to get some stickers made and put them on the bucket. or something.
Oh, I like that.
Some golf.
Some Gawk stickers, Green Our City
I like that.
Initiative, Gawky.
We need somebody to make a design.
Well, I thought it, you know, maybe it says, water, you put 3 buckets of water on your tree once a week.
I was just gonna ask, are we gonna give them a direction sheet, operating manual?
Yes,
For
an
research.
operating manual, yes, indeed. Yeah,
And some background about the particular tree, because maybe I think maybe say, you know, all the great stuff, this particular tree.
yeah, that's a great idea.
There's some of them, like a black gum, is not used very much, and it's a neat tree, but it's not very well understood, so.
I like that. Definitely, we would give them a package of information, but I think the bio on their tree would be really great. And if it all, you know, goes well, I know we even talked about maybe putting some sort of tag on the tree after it's planted that says, this is what kind of tree this is where it came from, and this is the environmental benefits that this,
Right, and the name of it.
this tree provides, and if you're interested in knowing more. So, I think that's really the update. Does anybody have any questions? Laura, you did a really nice job helping at the meeting.
Oh, thanks.
Do you think you're gonna be there to repeat that effort, or do you?
I
have-
will, I can't promise, because I'm not sure, my daughter's in town this week.
Okay.
And so.
All right,
she
well-
probably will be gone by then.
Well, Ginger, did you say you were gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
maybe you can help with that. Basically, Laura, I had a list of names, and I just was confirming, like, if the person was here, and I confirmed their email and phone.
Oh, yeah. I'd
And
be happy to do
then
that.
I think, what else did we do? We handed people a trip, we had some tree trivia that we did, so I handed them that, and then Laura collected those, so we had a bucket of tree trivia to pick from. Was there anything else you did besides hold up the boards and blowing over in the wind?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork does
Just-
make the dream work.
Just
Talking.
getting
and-
people signed up, or, signed in.
Okay,
We have a
But-
time for the planting.
not yet, morning,
I figured more. That's what I just put in my calendar.
9 o'clock.
So
Not
we're gonna
great.
do all 50 trees on that day.
Yeah, well,
Right.
probably won't be 50, but we'll do all the trees on one day. So we'll need lots of volunteer
Gary's
help.
world record is 250.
Yeah.
so-
Right.
Those were pre-dug holes. You keep saying that.
Pre-dug holes, so,
We're gonna be digging these holes.
No
Yeah.
postal digger?
We can't go, no. We can't do.
I think it'll go pretty fast though. And if we
Well-
get like one of us maybe volunteering on each crew that's going around.
I
think
helped
it's
out a
gonna go
little
quickly.
creek for plant trees and the native root mass. It was the most miserable digging I ever did in my life. It was mostly goldenrods that have been in that area. And it was like digging
Sharp
concrete.
shovels.
Well, this is gonna be all turf. Turf, very short root system. Okay, well, thank you for coming to the meeting, you guys, and Joe, I can get with you separately about the calls to folks after this next meeting.
So for Thursday, people don't need to sign up in advance, they can show up, or they do need to sign up in advance.
Well, if you want a tree, if you want to be a tree steward and you want a tree in your yard, we actually have reached out to all the people where we're going to be planting.
Oh, okay.
So if those people want a tree, they have to come to the meeting for the training.
Okay.
But if it's also open to the public, just to learn about the initiative and learn about young tree care,
Okay.
and stewardship.
Just wondering about sharing it in advance of Thursday, just like what to.
Yeah, here you.
Joe, I was gonna say Joe posted on the.
Yeah, you can get
That's
that.
on,
Emily, you can have that if you want.
Thanks for doing that.
Shady Creek
It's good.
Stream.
Corin did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can have that. I can send you a digital version of that if you want. but-
Yeah, I know, I have a digital one
Oh, okay.
on the Facebook thing, I just wasn't sure, like, the people that, if it's by invite only, I wasn't gonna.
No, it's not by invite.
Not this one, the
The-
last one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
last one was, and the tree planting is sort of by invite, really.
The trees.
Because we're trying to make sure that our efforts are like in one area
Yeah,
of the
it's
city,
like
because we
kind of
are gonna plant,
strategic, yeah.
right. Plant them all at one time.
Yes. I think so.
So yeah, you're welcome to share, and it's sort of just a public education event for that purpose. Okay, pollinator program update. Well, does anybody else have any questions about that? Does anybody? Okay, next item of business is the pollinator program update. And I think that would be Jerry.
Jerry hasn't communicated anything to me.
Okay,
about
so
her.
maybe he doesn't have updates.
And I think when we had the last meeting with Aaron
Shank.
in May,
Uh-huh.
we were talking about how Yvonne has several places that are mapped out. Just one place in downtown Webster, but we're waiting for funding to put the dent and break up concrete one place. That's
Potential project.
I thought that was just kind of it, and I don't know. People are asking me, well, when are we gonna have a session? And when it's
When are we gonna what?
have it, a meeting and.
Oh.
Someplace. And we're gonna put something in Southwoods Park too.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
that can be done anytime. Southwest Park, it's just a matter of picking up probably some milkweed plants.
Okay, so we have the plants ready to install. And do you have?
We would have to order them and shoot for probably after the heat in August, I would think.
But we're gonna have the planting at which park? And
Ivory Crockett's is the priority.
right.
I haven't. So MDC gave me a verbal commitment that they would fund that project. Pardon?
Nothing we've heard yet.
Their fiscal year started the beginning of July, just like ours. And so,
So that's the top priority, like within the next month or 6
that's the
weeks.
one that the city has funded in the grant budget.
And that's the one we were kind of planning to get behind as a commission, I think.
Yes,
And
and
then we could
also
get-
there's a bed along, we call it the long bed behind City Hall. It's the one that's adjacent to the back door. That one also has been approved, but I have the plans drawn up for it, but I haven't picked who I was gonna go approach for a grant yet on that, so.
So that's on hold. And
Yeah,
if
so
we
I'm hoping we can do one or both by the end of the year, but the other projects. I think I would have to talk to my boss about. I think we'll come way in under budget for the Ivory Crockett one, because they wanted me to cut back on the amount of
Yeah.
plants and you see.
And you have the specific ones plotted out, exactly, it's supposed to be the same with Southwest Park.
Yeah, so potentially, I mean, there's 5 or 6 gardens around town that I want to do, whether or not. And the other thing is, so keep in mind, whatever we build has to be taken
Has to
care
be-
of, because I'm telling you, parks staff is stretched to the
Yeah.
gills, and it's gonna be everything we can do to keep the grass.
Is there gonna be water accessible into some of these places?
Um, yeah.
Carry buckets to.
There'll be water at Ivory Crockett and water at City Hall. It actually is irrigated.
So
at
somebody
City
has to bring the hose. Yeah.
Yeah, so that that's probably the easy part.
So we have no specific dates yet, we're just kind of.
Well, we talked about doing the Ivy Crockett on Make a Difference, didn't we?
We can, I have to get the funding for it, so.
Okay.
I have to redo some of the plans because they wanted me to cut back on certain plans and add more of other plans. So once that's keeps coming up on the top of my desk and other things.
So-
Not back down, but
And the other thing, I was gonna wait till the end, but I'm not gonna be able to stay too much longer, unfortunately. Let's see. Someone from. The Herb Society, the Webster Groves Herb Society. Oh gosh,
Jenny Fagan.
Jenny Fagan, there it is right there. Jenny Fagan reached out to us and said, you know, we have a pollinator garden here that they maintain. That
Yeah.
they said, please count this as part of,
This Hawkenhouse, that one.
yeah, the mayor's monarch pledge. So I think it would, I mean, if we really wanted to keep moving with some momentum on the mayor's monarch pledge, we could even do an event there and you just, maybe they would even give a tour of the pollinator garden and talk about why herbs are great pollinator plants as well. So I think that's something that they are happy to share
Okay.
with us. And if we can put, you know, a stamp on that as well as a project.
Make up signs that say certified mayor's monarch
Oh,
garden. And have those, somebody can come up with a logo for that or.
Would Hawkenhouse be up to like giving a tour or something to kind of just.
It's
Maybe.
under renovation right now.
Oh, it's at the restaurant.
It's, yes.
But a tour of the herb garden anytime would be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It's, we probably should wait till they're done top cleaning. They have the whole back porch is propped up in 2x4.
So I think,
Because we don't have an event in August, I think it was, they were gonna skip August.
yeah,
Mhm.
and we have
And then-
the tree planting in September. October
that
is Make a
takes us back
Difference
to-
Day.
And then it's gonna be cold, so.
Well, we could, I mean, that's something we could do in the spring.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get a sense of talking to Jerry, so. and then-
Yeah.
He was talking about, he had his own plans and that I could never.
And,
I don't know where he's going.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so. But I know a lot of master gardeners are interested in, you know, when can we show up? and-
Yeah.
And do something, so. But it's hard to do that and get people out and it's gonna be.
Yeah,
So-
it's true, and we, you know, as a commission, have been doing a lot, so it's hard, even hard for us all to commit things to, so.
Could we possibly shoehorn in one of these plots in September or October, in addition to Make a Difference study? Just make it a small private pollinator.
Possibly. Let me
So
see
we did
who
something, I
commits
mean,
to funding.
we've been having all these talks about doing it, but we haven't planned anything yet, so probably good to get something.
Well, I mean, you know, not that I could commit to August, but August is open if you,
Okay,
if
I'll talk to them about it.
if you can talk to Jerry and see if, you know, planning something there in August, and maybe I can put you in touch with Jenny
That's good.
Fagan from,
Does she live in Worcester Park?
I don't.
She
know.
does.
Yes, I think I met her. So
Well, then I'll connect you.
I can get her phone number maybe and.
I have her email
Oh,
probably.
it's on there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll connect
Okay.
you to Jenny, and then, you know, if that's something that can get pulled together that quickly.
And I did tell the library of our plans so that they know we're not gonna probably use the room till January. So-
Okay. And then on the pollinator front, the Sustainability Commission reached out to me as well and said, have you guys heard about No Mow May?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, yeah, Yvonne's doing, you know, so I talked a little bit about that. But they said, let's promote that more, and I said, we're trying. So I thought maybe something we could think about for February or March is to redo the talk that we did about, and we can talk about whether or not we want to use the same speaker or not, but the low maintenance kind of pollinator friendly lawns.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that presentation we
Sustainable
did?
turf.
Sustainable turf.
And there's some new stuff about Not
Like
using
Glenn.
grass.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
liked him.
So anyway, I was thinking maybe before people starts to get warm and people want to pull their lawnmower out, we could have a talk about
Yeah.
that. I don't know if
Yes,
it's Glenn or
yes.
not. Maybe it's Scott Woodbury and not Glenn.
Yeah.
And if you
Um,
have, is it Jamie,
Jenny.
well, it's Jamie for sustainability.
Oh, yeah.
Give me an email that I mean, I've emailed them on their.
Well, I
website.
think maybe we could do a little more talking about what that event looks like and how, I think they wanted to help promote it and then maybe just,
I'm thinking they would like dark sky too, because that's.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Who's Glenn? Like, what's his last name?
Who?
Glenn.
Glenn
um,
I can't remember. Kramer, Kramer.
And they're starting to use other things like wild strawberries, things like that instead of turf.
Yeah, I think Scott Woodbury might be also a good option for that.
Yeah, two of
That's
together though.
But perhaps, I think Glenn felt like, I mean, he's a turf guy, like he gets paid big money to do turf.
And
Yes.
So, and
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 other options too.
Rearrange.
he
his
did though, but I
whole-
was really proud of
mind.
him.
Yeah.
And I thought
He
he
had
did
an
a really
out-of-body
good job. I think
experience
he did.
doing that,
I really
yes.
think that. So maybe it's a combination of them.
Yeah.
The lawn alternative is really, I mean, the New York Times did a huge spread.
Right.
About that, so
Right,
people are sort of feeling it. Okay.
okay. So, we've kind of covered the schedule, the upcoming event schedule.
Oh, you're for November, you're gonna do your float trip thing,
Oh, yeah. With float trip, with,
or they talk about Missouri Riverways.
mhm.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Just
Joe,
Annie's idea.
and Joe was gonna reach out and I didn't reach out to the person I was supposed to reach
Still
out to.
can. We have a place to hold speakers. I mean,
Well, I think the library would be potentially.
That or
open
just have the group go on the float trip and then bring him in the spring to, you know, or a winter. To have them come and talk about the importance of our
I like
streams.
that idea.
And then that way we can kind of,
See it
that
from
would be a
his
good team
perspective.
building of green space.
I'd be
to-
there.
Yeah, it's
And people are
big
starting
muddy
to think
adventure.
All right, so do we wanna do that? Do you guys wanna pick some dates in November?
Why don't we check with him and see what he has available or what he recommends and.
Okay.
We can go from there.
Okay, so November is actually gonna be a GSAC team building event. Focused on water.
No trust falls, right?
No.
No spider web, get everybody through it, none of that stuff.
No, just, I think it's just a big, huge boat and you can't crash it.
I'm here for that.
basically.
Yeah, I think it's,
So where would it, I mean, this would be on a river,
yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be,
Notice
it could be
somewhere.
in Mississippi, it could be in Missouri, it could be Merrimack, it depends where we
Shady
want to go.
Creek.
Yeah, Shady Creek, drag your boat.
Over the honey, like,
We had to be like the Flintstones.
okay,
we've done that.
Really?
Yes, we did, it took us 6 hours.
Oh, gee.
We floated from the service center to Deer Creek Park and it took us 6 hours.
Wow.
There were parts of that creek that you would never know you were in the city, but it was beautiful.
Wow.
And other parts that were concrete chunks as tall as this, that you had to drag your boat over.
There are other parts you really regretted doing
Yeah.
that trip.
It
Why did we do this?
was a real eye opener.
Never to forget.
is that something Emily Shady Creek
Okay.
would like to go on?
Not the, not the.
November one, yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
not a big one.
That's
Right.
the beautiful part. But,
Okay.
Okay.
It's still, they're kind of like-
Okay, I
You're gonna go?
Scout's honor will call this guy.
Okay.
we could promote.
Put that as,
I believe in you, Carrie.
okay, in December. Are we taking December off?
Well,
December's
we'll have the
party,
boards and
right?
commission party and this year. I don't know if
They
that
might
made
cut
it on
it.
the budget
I
or
don't
not.
think
Let's
it
have
did.
another
Oh, okay.
variant. that suits
But I
everyone.
think we'll also be checking and see how we're doing on the budget.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a low scale
Yeah.
kind of cocktail
Cookies
hours.
and.
All right. And then we'd also, some other topics I think that were still out there were the dark sky later in January. And then now we have the idea for the pollinator, no mow turf or whatever, so we'll think about that first, before spring hits. Okay, then new business is the Hobbyhouse Herb Garden, which I gave you that good news today. That's very exciting to me. So I will connect you, Linda, with Jenny Fagan
Oh, right.
about potential.
Haagen-Dazs that we're going.
Like the ice cream?
No, did I say?
Hawken House, right?
Haagen-Dazs.
I heard Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs.
Maybe I didn't say it.
couldn't
Maybe it was
remember, so it's like-
subliminal.
I,
I'm hungry and hot. Okay, Hawken House. Okay. So this is sort of new business and I'm just gonna give you guys this information and we don't even need to talk about it now, but we were contacted by Laura Rose. And she is, can you just take one and pass it around? She wanted to talk to us about Proposition S. Which is a project, well, this is her letter that she wrote to the Webster Groves School Board. About some turf replacement. So if you guys want to read through this and I'll take a little poll maybe after. Next week or something about whether or not we would want to put this on our agenda to hear from her. I think to hear about the issues, I think would be good for the Green Space Committee to understand, what's happening, but I don't know what, other than, spreading the word, I don't know if she wants us to do anything else for her. So just read this and I will contact you guys when I'm putting together the agenda for next month and see if we want to get her on the agenda just to talk. And it would be kind of like the way we handled Karen today, just introduction. Laura, can you attach this to the minutes so that I can get you a digital copy?
Okay.
So that Jerry and Annie have a copy of that too. Okay, and I guess the last couple of the last pieces of business are, we always invite the council liaison to give us an update if there's anything you would like to.
I think like council wise, so we passed the budget. You all have seen that and that update. So I think the next thing is the charter review advisory board process. So that was something that was on the ballot several years ago to say, do we want to put in front of the voters every few years the option to say we want to have a charter review advisory board? And so in April, that was the first time that question was on the ballot and it was voted as yes. So we're forming the charter review advisory board as response to that. There's going to be an info session at the end of July. I just got an email from Laura that the date's been picked, so we'll get that date out so people can kind of learn about what does it entail, what's the response, like how long is it going to take, what's the scope, all of that, and then people who are interested can apply. It's like a board or commission, but it's probably going to be about a year length of time. And then at the end of that, any recommendations that people have or changes they want to make to the charter gets reviewed by the council. And then any that council agrees with go to the ballot for the voters. So it's kind of like almost like a 3 hurdle step. So that's kind of the next big thing that we're working on. And then we're talking about strategic planning as well for the council. So that's just the talking of that is getting underway. So we kind of know where we want to go, but it would be good to have a little bit more formality around that. So it's kind of the main updates from council right now.
Thank you very much. Of course.
Okay,
Thank
some
you.
exciting
For you.
news. Your budget is increased to $1,000. 400 of that is for speakers. So I would say the only caution with that is how you would do that and make it fair to anyone who comes to talk. Some people like probably from MDC aren't supposed to get paid to talk,
Mhm.
but just sort of bear that in mind. And then the city, we're looking for 1 or 2 fall seasonal employees. If you know anyone who wants to finish out the year with us, we're gonna lose a bunch of our good seasonal students that are gonna go back to school very shortly and it's gonna be pretty tough to keep up. So if we can get, 2 more people to help us out through Thanksgiving, that would be wonderful. If you know anyone, and I'll interview them and hopefully it's a good fit. That's it. That's all I have.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, guys. We'll have another meeting to go to. I thought I was gonna have to really rush out of here, but.